Assalamu alaikum, Arun. Walaikum assalam. The admin gave you this task, so complete this task, and he want it soon. Not a problem. Configure the following VLANs on the following switches. Not a problem. On the following.
A few moments later.
Is it 40 switches? Yeah.
A few minutes later.
Enable configuration terminal VLAN 1 to 30. Why it's so much dark in here? VLAN 2. Name it what? What was the name of it, sir?
The name was HR.
One name, HR. VLAN 3, 30. What was the name of VLAN for 30?
Finance.
3 days later. 3 weeks later. Many months later.
Hey guys, good morning everyone. I appreciate you guys for being here. So thank you. Today guys, we'll be talking about one of the most important topic in Cisco Layer 2 networking technology, which is VTP. You might ask yourself that, what is VTP? VTP is one of the most important topic in Cisco networking Layer 2 technology, and you are employed in a company and they give you a task that implement these VLANs on the enterprise switches or in the switches in the company. So you might ask yourself, it is not a hard job to do, task to finish. So when you look at the paper, you see not just one VLAN, not two VLAN, not three VLAN. It will be about like 20, 30 VLANs. So you would say with yourself, oh, it's not a problem. So when you want to configure it, it will be like that. It is not one switch, not two switch. In enterprise network, we have more than 20 switches, 30 switches. So you have to configure it manually, this much switches. So for this problem, Cisco came with an idea known as what? VTP. VTP is VLAN Trunking Protocol, which gave us the ability to centrally create, delete, and modify VLANs in our network. So from a central point, we will be able to modify, configure, and delete as much VLANs as we want. So guys, let's dive into it. Return to our topic, VTP. VTP is a VLAN Trunking Protocol, which is a Cisco proprietary protocol, and it is what we call that. It replicates VLANs. Like the main job of VTP is replicating the VLANs. When we make what do we call that? Some VLANs in VTP. So like in here, as you can see that I have one switch, 2, 3, and here we have the third one. So we have these switches. So this is the server, these are the clients. So whenever I make a VLAN in the server, like I make VLAN 10, so this server will replicate these VLANs to these switches, to the clients. It will multicast and the updates in a token, and will send the update to these clients, and these clients will get the update from this, and that is the meaning of what? Replicating the VLANs. So it gives us the ability to easily create, modify, and delete VLAN from a single point, as I showed you before, that it do what? It replicate VLAN from a main server point, from one point. And this is the, what we call that, the pros of VTP, which gives us the ability to what? To create, modify, and delete VLANs from one point. It do not replicate ports. Like we have what?
One switch. We have this switch. This, and there's this.
Make example of these two. So this is the server and this is the client. So whenever this server send an update about a VLAN, like about VLAN 10, about VLAN 10 to this what? To this client. So if this VLAN 10 is accessed in these ports, like in the server, like what do we call that? And interface either 0 and 0 So it will not replicate those ports to the client that you should access it in interface either 0 and 0 It will just what we call it, replicate the VLAN to the client. So this is the meaning of what? Replicating the VLAN. VTP have 3 versions. version 1, version 2, and version 3. Version 1 is not used nowadays. Let's come to the version 2. The problem with it was that, like in here, I will show you that how VTP works.
So I have one switch, another, and another switch in here. These 3 switches. So these 3 switches, this is the server, this is the client.
So this server, how VTP send updates to the client, whatever change that we make in the server, whatever VLAN that we make in the server, it will slap a revision number on what? On the update, like 1, 2, 3. These updates will then send in a token to what? To the clients. So these clients do what? Look at their revision numbers. Like this client have 1 and 2 revision number. So this client look at the token and see that there is a third one and there's a new revision number, and look at zone that it don't have the newer update. So it will take the update from the what? From the server. It will take it 3. This one also will do the same thing. But the problem is that if we have another switch in here, we bought a used switch that was used as a VTP server in another network. And this switch have what? Like the revision number of it was like, what do we call that? 10 or 20 more than the main server. So these clients will look at the revision number of the new ROG server. Let's call this what? The ROG server. ROG server have more revision number than this one. So they will delete all the, what do we call that? Updates that they take from the main server and take the updates now from what? From the ROG server. And it is not even our own server. So this was the problem with VTP version 2, and it only supported the standard range, I may call it, from 1 to 1005, and it didn't support the full range. And VTP version 3 is also used nowadays. Version 3 solved this problem. In VTP version 3, we have something known as primary server.
And if we, what do we call that? If you have this switch, and this one, and let's just draw to server and client. So whenever if there is a
ROG server 2 in here, if we enable a feature known as primary server in this, I will just P and S, the primary server feature in the main server. So this server, whoever the ROG server is, this server will not change. So this was the problem that it solved with VTP version 3. And it also support the full range of what? VLANs. And VTP also multicast advertising to the, what do we call that? To the other clients. And I also explained the modes. VTP modes. I didn't explain that for you. So VTP have 4 modes: server, client, transparent, and off. So let's come to the first. Server, as I told you before, server is the one that replicates the VLANs. This is the server. Whenever the server mode is VTP mode is server, it replicates what? It replicates the VLANs. Client do what? Get the information from what? This is the client. The client take information from what? From the main server. What is transparent? So like in here we have one switch and another switch. So these are connected like this. This is a client, and this switch is in transparent mode. So the transparent mode do what? It have a feature that it will not take update from the main server, but still it will let it go. Like if the updates come to this point, it will not take the update, but still it will forward it to what? To the client. This is what we call that, the pros, the benefit of transparent mode. But if we enable the off mode, VTP off mode in this switch, so this switch will not get the update from what? From the server, and still will not forward it to what? To the other client. So this is the feature of VTP off mode. So revision number, as I told you before, revision number, I explained that one, and it is stored in what? In NVRAM. And VTP have a little bit synchronization problem. What does it mean by that? Whenever we configure it, it will take a little bit time to send it to another switch. Like it will not just directly synchronize with the other clients. It will take a little bit time. So whenever we configure what? VTP, it should have what? The same domain name on all the switches. Like if it is Cisco or CCNP, whatever it is, the company, HHS, Zoombyte, whatever it is, just the domain name should be same between all the clients, the transparent VTP mode, the off modes, between all the VTP switches. The password should be same, and the version should be same, because if it is not the same, it will still, version 3 still have backward compatibility with version 2. We will not use the full feature of version 3. So it is recommended to use the same versions among the switches. So whenever we configure VTP, we have to trunk among switches. Version 2, ring token. What does it mean by ring token? Ring token is what we call a mechanism that is used in in switches, in layer 2 technology, which what we call that? Like in VTP, we have
Switches 1, 2, 3.
So these switches are the ring. The ring token, it means that all the switches with VTP modes are in the ring, and the token means the update that it sent between that ring. So this is the meaning of ring token. So VTP version 1 is capable to upgrade to version 2, but not version 3. So VTP, whenever we configure version 1, we can just say VTP version 2. But whenever we configure VTP version 2, we cannot upgrade to version 3. We just have to reconfigure it and reconfigure the version 3. What are the capabilities of version 3? Version 3, as I told you before, support full range of VLANs, and also support private VLANs, and it have a hidden password, and it also support multiple spanning tree. VTP had have two modes, VTP primary and secondary, that solve the problem of the revision number, and this is the multicast MAC address that it use to send its update. So let's come to our next topic, VTP pruning. VTP pruning is a Cisco proprietary protocol. What does it used for? So let me pick up my pen. So it enhances network bandwidth used by reducing unnecessary flooded traffic such as broadcast, multicast, and unicast packets. So it reduce unnecessary flooded traffic. What does it mean by that? So let's come to our whiteboard.
So in here, as you can see that we have one switch, another, and another switch in here. So these are the switches. This is the server, this is the client, and this is the client connected to each other.
So the server have a lots of VLAN, like from 1 to 30 VLANs. It have 30, 40 VLANs. What we call that? Like it have 30 VLANs. So if the client just use VLAN A 20, if the client just use VLAN A 20, 30, so the server will just send the update for VLAN A 20 and 30 only to to this switch. It will not send, if you enable the VTP pruning, it will just send the update for VLAN 20 and 30 to these clients, and it will not send other updates to these clients. Like if this one use VLAN A 2, 4, 5, these, so it will just send the update for these VLANs. It will not send the update for some other VLANs. So this is the capability of VTP pruning. So by default, the problem with VTP pruning is that it only supports VLAN from 2 to 1001, and it will not prune other VLANs more than that. So let's get into our configuration, guys, and let's get into it. So guys, as you can see in here, this is our topology, this is our VTP server, these are the clients, and this is the transparent, and let's configure our topology. So first, the step 1 is to configure the VTP server. So let's connect to our switches. So switch 3 is of our So let's name it VTP server. So our VTP server is Let's configure it. VTP, first we have to give it a domain name. Domain name is HHS. So after giving it the domain name VTP, we can enable the version. If you don't give the VTP domain name first, so it will not configure the version. So VTP version is version 3. So not a problem. VTP, we want to give it a password. Yes, we want to give it a password. Password Cisco 123. So we give it a password. So next thing is that VTP password is given. What are the next thing that we want to configure? So in here, we configure the domain name. We don't need the file. Where do you want to save these files? interface not important. If you want to enable the VTP, the mode is important, the password, and the version. The pruning, we'll configure it later. And also interface EWD 0/0, no shutdown, switch port mode, switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, switch port mode trunk. So we have to what we
trunked it. So first of all, in switch port it is what our client. So first of all, we have to trunk the port interface range either 0/0 to 1, no shutdown, VTP, no. Switch port mode, no. Switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, switch port mode trunk. So we configured it, and after trunking the interface, let's configure the switch as what? VTP client. So VTP what? First of all, we have to configure the domain. VTP domain what? HHS. VTP, after configuring the domain name, what do we do? VTP version 3. After configuring the version, VTP version is configured. Password, what is the password? Cisco 123. And VTP mode what? Client.
Count VTP client for switch A.
Let's configure our next switch, which is switch 2. We configure switch 2 as what? As the VTP transparent mode. So first of all, let's go to the interface. Interface range Ethernet 0/1, 0 to 1, no shutdown, switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, switch port mode trunk. So we configure the interface as trunk, and VTP what? What VTP domain name HHS. Sorry guys. VTP domain name is what? HHS. VTP version 3. VTP password what? What is the password? Cisco 123. And VTP what we have? We also have VTP. What's this thing is open? VTP version is 3, and VTP mode transparent. So you can see VTP mode when we want to configure, we have 4 modes, and now we watch the device at what? Transparent mode. So do show run section VTP. So we configure VTP domain is VTP mode transparent. So VTP version is also configured, and did we lift something in here? No, nothing is left. So, and switch 1 is what? Interface either 0/0, shutdown, switch port, mode, trunk, encapsulation .1q, switch port, mode, trunk. So after configuring this VTP mode, VTP domain name is what? HHS, and VTP. After configuring VTP, are we configured in here before? No. VTP domain name set to HHS, VTP version 3, VTP mode client, and VTP mode is client, version is 3, and password is what? Cisco 123. Are we let go of something? So VTP domain name HHS version 3, mode client, password Cisco 123. VTP, are we forget something? No, everything is finished.
So let's go to our VTP server. Exit this interface, exit. So let's configure some VLANs. Configuration terminal VLAN A 1 from 1 to what? 10 VLANs. Configure 10 VLANs. And we also have to configure, when we configure VTP server, so we have to configure VTP server as what? The primary server. VTP primary server. Do we have something? No. VTP primary. Yes. And this system is becoming primary server for future VLANs. So this is becoming the server, so we have to wait a little bit. So this device become what? As the VTP server for this, as after we configure it, VTP primary. So let's come to what? VLAN 1 to 10. Configure, exit. VLAN A 2, name what? HR, exit. VLAN A 3, what? Name, finance. I'm just giving some name. And let's look at these switches in it. Do show VLAN. As you can see, this switch is VTP in VTP client mode, and what do we call that? The VLANs have been configured in these switches already. I didn't configure it, and it is the what we call the magic of VTP. So in here, let's see this switch is configured as VTP transparent mode. So do show VTP, do show VLAN. This switch don't have the VLANs. Let's come to our switch 1. Do show VTP VLAN. In here, as you can see, we configured this switch as VTP mode transparent. So it did what? So it didn't get any VLANs from what? Configuration from what? From switch 3, but it still forwarded the configuration to what? To to our switch one in here. So this was all about today's configurations. And if you configure just VTP mode off in here, it is just the same thing. Just change the mode to what to off, so it will not send the objects to what this client. So this was all about our today's topic and about VTP. So thank you guys for joining us on this video, and see you until next time. Bye. And I forgot, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends.